Hello and welcome to the Can I Retire Now podcast with your hosts, Nick Russell and Becky Wagoner. I'm your podcast producer, RJ Malik. Nick and Becky, of course, it's always great to see the both of you. And I'm looking at the title of today's podcast, Time Travel and Condiments. I have to say, I am really looking forward to this. Becky, why don't you start us off and intro what you two are going to talk about on this podcast?
All right. Hello. And yes, it's time travel and condiments. So they say time flies when you're having fun, but what if time flies by and you haven't saved for retirement? So there are a couple ways you can squeeze in a little bit more savings to make up for the lost time. And it might just involve time travel and condiments. So today we're going to discuss a couple ways to play catch up. When you think time has passed to save for retirement. So the first thing we're going to talk about, though, is time travel, which is how Nick thinks of this next thing. So, Nick, how are we time traveling for retirement?
So, yeah, RJ, if you ever want to know what it's like being in our house, in my life, like if you wanted to, Freaky Friday, like switch spots with me,
Okay.
I explained something to Becky. I go, hey, I think this would be really interesting. This is new. Like I'm helping a lot of clients with it. She goes, time travel and condiments. And I'm like, sure, babe, whatever makes you happy.
You just came up with that title like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
this is wild. Yeah. Yeah. So
it's how I am, for better or worse.
But it's catchy.
Yeah.
It grabbed my attention.
Yeah. So how do we get you to time travel? All right. So by the time this episode comes out, will probably be end of January, early February. The time travel aspect is regarding making contributions to IRAs, Roth IRAs, and SEP IRAs, SEP, if you're self-employed and you have a SEP IRA. You are actually allowed to contribute, still though we're in 2025, for 2024. So a lot of people feel like, oh yeah.
The year's over, 2024. So we thought we maxed, we can't contribute to those limits or whatever anymore. But you're saying we can do so even in 2025.
You can. If you have not fully contributed to a Roth IRA, traditional IRA, or SEP IRA, you can actually still contribute for last year. So this is very helpful. Let's say you're, for as an example, contribution limits for traditional and Roth IRAs are 7,000. They were 7,000 last year. They're still 7,000 this year. So let's say you put $500 a month away last year. Well, you got to the end of the year and you put 6,000 away. But now you want to get that extra 1,000 in there and you think you've missed your chance. You can still contribute until the tax deadline, which this year is April 15th, which is our kind of normal tax deadline, for last year. And I would recommend that if you're making contributions now, just say on a regular basis, or you want to put $1,000 in your Roth or traditional IRA, you should first fully contribute for last year. Put it in for last year. Because who knows what's going to happen this year? Maybe you get a bonus, a little extra money, and then you want to fully contribute for this year. After April 15th, you can't go back to last year. So you only have now until mid-April to do this.
So anyone that has an IRA can do this. There's no age minimum or maximum on this.
Correct. There is no age min or max to contribute to a traditional or Roth IRA. The only stipulation is you have earned income. So you've made money, presumably enough to cover what you're contributing. Okay. And you don't meet any of the, there are income limits involved in making you eligible or not. I believe we talked about that in a previous episode. And I mentioned that's traditional and Roth IRAs. SEP IRAs, which are for some self-employed people have SEP IRAs, you can not only still contribute now, you could contribute if you file an extension all the way until when you file your taxes. So I have clients who in October of last year contributed for 2023.
Okay.
And because they hadn't done their tax return yet.
Oh, and you can get an extension if you're self-employed.
Well, you can get an extension regardless.
But it only works. Okay.
It only works on SEPs. Yeah. So if let's say you and I file an extension on our personal tax return And here we go. We're in May, June, July, August. And you go, ooh, we should have done an IRA for me. It's too late. But
Okay.
now I'm self-employed, but if I was, we have a 401k at work. But if I was like a one-off guy, like a 1099, just a self-contract, contractor, self-employed, and I have a SEP, first of all, those limits way higher. This year, there's 70,000 you could contribute to a SEP IRA.
That's a lot of pocket change.
A lot of pocket change. Last year was 69,000. They did increase it to 70 because why not? You have until you actually file your taxes. So it gives you time if you do file an extension.
Oh, right. So we can time travel back to the previous year to fully fund our IRAs until we file taxes.
Things you cannot do this with, worth noting, 401ks, 457s, 403bs, like your work-sponsored plans, or simple IRAs. Simples are another self-employed type of plan that small businesses normally have that maybe aren't big enough for 401ks. Those are year-end. So this is IRA and Roth IRA personally, and SEP IRAs if you're...
All right.
What if I have an old IRA?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's now with our financial advisor. Can I contribute to that because it's no longer with the company that I was working with?
Correct. Yeah.
So I can throw into that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You'll want to talk to your advisor because if you have, say, a 401k at your current employer,
I do.
You're probably not going to get the tax advantages of contributing to a traditional IRA. But if you qualify and can do a Roth, same rules apply, you could contribute. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Pretty cool. So we could time travel for at least the next few months.
Sounds good to me.
Nice. All right. And so we've covered time travel. So we're moving on to condiments. Specifically.
Only one kind of condiment. Because Becky, I grew up in the Northeast. I did not grow up down here in the South. And you guys put mayo on everything.
It is.
If people, can you stop putting mayonnaise on my sub at Publix, please?
Never.
That's not, you need oil, vinegar, salt, pepper, and oregano. It's the only way to do a sub.
Okay.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that, Nick.
Come on. I thought you'd be with me, RJ.
Thank you.
I'm from the Northeast. I do like the oil and vinegar and pepper and I do like that, but I have no issue with mayonnaise on certain subs.
It has a place.
I know they put mayonnaise on Philly cheesesteaks down here. I think if you did that in Philly, someone would take you out back.
That would be a problem. Yes, I agree with that. There are certain things. There are certain things you don't put mayonnaise on. I 100% agree. But I'm not like you, Nick. I can. I'm flexible.
Becky sneaks it in on my stuff every now and then.
And then you say, "Why is this so good?"
Wow, this tastes really good. She goes,
mayonnaise.
So I'm only interested in my favorite condiment, ketchup.
Ketchup. Right.
Ketchup, the goat.
What does ketchup have to do with retirement?
So now this applies to 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, simple IRAs, all of your employer-sponsored plans. This does not apply to traditional IRAs and Roth IRAs like when we were doing our time traveling before. So all of these individual plans have separate limits on how much you can contribute. So for example, let's use a 401k. In 2024, the maximum you could contribute was $23,000 into a 401k. So in 2025, that's been increased to $23,500. They give you an extra $500 this year. But when you reach the ripe old age of 50,
for me, yes.
I know it's tough. It's tough getting older. Hey, I'll get there eventually, RJ. Don't worry. But still 43 at the moment.
Yes. Got it.
Yeah. So just so you know, over 50, you can contribute something called a catch-up contribution. Catch-up, CATCH, not ketchup, the condiment. So that way, as you get closer to retirement, you have the ability to put more and more money away, if you need to. Now, that's been around. People hopefully are aware of that. And it's to give people, as they get a little older and a little closer to retirement, an opportunity to put a little more money away. What I brought up to you the other day, which motivated this conversation, was when the Secure Act came out during COVID, there have been all these different things that have rolled out over the years. Now we're talking almost 5 years from when COVID hit the US. And another new thing came out this year. So 2 weeks ago from this recording. They now have something called a super ketchup. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Imagine ketchup bottle, red cape, super
Red
ketchup.
cape. Super ketchup.
Super
Dun,
ketchup.
dun.
If
All
this
right,
episode
so-
does not have a picture of me with a cape on it, somebody in the graphics department is not doing their job. Super
Do you want
ketchup.
to hear a joke about condiments?
You just have a condiment joke on hand. I'm ready.
I do. I can't
Let
claim.
rip.
This is from my high school history teacher, Mr. Black. He used to always say in class, "Try to catch up. Can you cut the mustard? Relish the thought."
Oh boy, Becky,
I know.
you should have run that
Yeah.
by us before.
Yeah, that wasn't in the notes, was it? Yeah, that was. Well, wait, can you say that again just one more time
No,
for people
don't.
that want to hear it clearly?
Try to catch up. Can you cut the mustard? Relish the thought.
All right. I feel like I'm going to share that with my staff and just get immediate groans.
Yeah,
but
I have a mayonnaise
Yeah.
one too, but we'll save that. That's a different one. So
no,
like,
if you have a mayonnaise joke, give
like
me the mayonnaise
like
joke.
the redneck dictionary. It's like for mayonnaise. It's like mayonnaise, some big tires on that truck. No,
Oh my
still
God.
nothing.
Was that like a Jeff Foxworthy thing?
My
Yeah, I was going to say.
yeah. Anyway,
Well, this is
Okay,
how you
back
get
to-
it. How you get a
back to-
conversation come to a
back-
screeching
yeah,
halt.
Okay, sorry.
Um,
Back to
all right.
super ketchup.
Yeah, so super ketchup. So super ketchup now, and by the way, another great example of what was this person thinking. So whoever decided on the super ketchup, it only applies to people 60 to 63.
Oh,
That's a
Not
very
60 plus,
specific
not-
window.
just 60 to 63.
why those
Again,
three? Why those 3 years?
RJ, I wish I knew. I have no idea. I've looked it up. I read the Wall Street Journal write up on it. They just came out with a who just wrote up an article. We were showing around the office, make sure everybody was aware. 60 to 63. Why not 60 plus, 60 till you retire? No, 60 to 63 because why not? But now they allow you a super catch up. So using a 401k as an example, in 2025, you can now contribute your normal contribution limit, which is $23,500, like we talked about before. Plus, you can do a catch-up contribution of $7,500 if you're over 50, like we talked about. But now with the super catch-up, it's an additional $11,250. So between 60 and 63. So that totals $34,750, which is obviously significantly more than the $23,000 for your normal contribution. So why only to 63? Who the heck knows? But if you find yourself at 60, feeling like you're a little behind and you need to catch up, super catch up, you can have the opportunity to save even more money in your retirement accounts than you ever could before.
What if you're self-employed?
So if you're self-employed, you have a simple IRA. So not a SEP IRA, but a simple IRA, you also get the super catch-up. So for 2025, normal contribution for a simple IRA is maxed at $13,000. It's less than a 401k. The normal catch-up for those 50 and over is $3,500. And then your
Okay.
new super catch-up is an additional $5,250. It's $5,250. So that all totals $21,750. So SEPs unfortunately don't get catch-ups, so nothing really changes for that. It's a really nice feature, right? Because it gives people more opportunity to save more money. And if you are feeling behind in your retirement savings, or let's be honest, the last 5-7 years of people's working lives, that's when they make the most amount of money. It's their highest income earning years. So now if the kids are out of the house, maybe you paid off your house, so maybe your expenses are a little lower than they were 10 years ago, but your income's higher. Here's an opportunity. You have that excess money. This is where you can put it, save some money.
So regular ketchup is 50 years old.
50
plus.
years old or older.
Super ketchup is 60 to 63 only. All right. So there are some
And
rules
it's
for those.
you
but-
turn that age in that tax year, just to be clear. So RJ did the natural instinctual thing and said, what's with those 3 years? It's actually 4 years.
Okay.
Because it's the year you turn 60, the year you turn 61, 62, 63.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really odd window.
Yeah.
That's my thinking, but
But good to know, right?
Sure.
Because if you have the excess money and you need to save more, here's your opportunity. So
Great.
I thought those two things were worth talking about. A lot of people make contributions. They trying to get January's financial awareness month. People have it on the brain and they're like, I wish I knew this last year. Well, we could do some of that for last year and be aware that these increases, that contribution limits go up and now these catch-ups and super catch-ups.
All right. So speaking of trying to make up for lost time, do you know, here's your fun fact. Dun, dun. I don't know. We don't have music for this, but okay. So believe it or not, there are people that wait until their 50s to start saving for retirement. Can you believe it? What percentage?
Yes. I've met
according to this. This was a 2023 survey, retirement confidence survey by the Employee Benefit Research Institute. What percentage of people wait until they are age 50 or older to start saving? Would you think?
I would say 30%, 35%.
All right. Nick, how about you? You actually talk to people about this every day.
Yeah, I would love. Now, if the question was how many people are on track at 50, yeah, it would be
That's
really
like
That's
70%.
That's not this question. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to think people have started something. Is it as high as 30? Is it like 25, 30%?
No, it's thank goodness it's lower. It's about 15 to 20% have not saved anything until their 50s. So
which is
most
still,
people,
come on. Yeah.
Yeah. So most people are doing the right thing. But if you waited, obviously now we just discussed ways to catch up. And speaking of catch up, how many people that are eligible do you think participate in catch up contributions?
This one, 10%.
I would think that's high.
Oh, yeah.
Until you said today on this episode about catch-up contributions, I had never heard of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
you're not alone, RJ, by the way.
So and I have to take part responsibility of that because for when I started probably in my late 30s, early 40s is when I really started contributing. I didn't pay attention to it. It was once a year. Oh, okay. Here's what you're contributing. Yeah. That's fine. And that's all I did. So, so I have to take part of the blame for that.
So 50 and older, 15% of people that are eligible participate in catch-up contributions.
That's such a shame.
And it's not because always they're fully funded, because still this is according to a Vanguard survey that came out, only 14% of people maximize their contributions. So is what it says. So there's still room for a lot of people to participate should they have the funds and think of it in time.
But it's difficult to maximize, and because things come up, and I'll give a personal experience. My mother-in-law, my wife's mother, we are helping her with her finances. And, we have to. And it's, so now in doing that, we have to, cut back in ways.
It's taking from yours. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is. But I also look at it, we work in the similar industry or work in the same industry. So we're going to work past 65. We're not going to do the traditional retirement of 65. We can work as long as our voices hold out, So, so I don't, people are talking retire. In fact, I have 3 friends from college who've already retired, and I'm not even looking at that for a couple of reasons. I like what I do. They did not have, I know one friend hated his job. He couldn't wait to retire. So I like what I do. I enjoy this. I enjoy working with people like you. I enjoy the other things I do that, are connected to voice work and also video. I'm learning how to, edit video and things like that. So, and I'm sitting in a room. I don't have to worry about physical exertion. It's, make sure my hands are working and my voice is working and my eyes are working. I'm good.
So I'll give you a little unsolicited advice, RJ.
Mm-hmm.
Where I find people, things that come up, are traditionally the people that wait to the end of the year or like this time of the year to do the contribution for last year, and then you get here and you're like, oh, I don't have the money for it. If possible, try to do even a small amount every month.
That's
like
a good idea.
If the maximum contribution's like $600 a month, put $100 a month away. Just get something so that by the time you get to the end of the year, if you go, wow, we really don't have the funds, you still had something contributed. And I find that those systematic kind of savings, like periodically putting money away, we auto draft money for clients. Like it becomes like a 401k where you don't even know, think about it. It's out of your paycheck. Those that wait to the end of the year, it's harder because you live your life throughout the year.
Yeah, it's harder to come up with a big sum of money as opposed to little bits.
Yeah, but it's interesting, and I'm not surprised so few people do catch-ups. Most people aren't aware of them, like you said, RJ. We actually, in our practice, at this time of year, we go through our entire book of business, so all our clients we help, and we look at certain key ages, and we find clients that are turning 50 this year, so we can tell them about their catch-up contributions. People that are now turning 60, super catch-ups. And then, of course, key indicating ages like 62, 67 for Social Security, 65 for Medicare. So if people can just, look, I'll be 43. This episode will be out. I'll already have my birthday. I don't really have any of that to worry about. But once I hit about 50, there's a lot of these magical ages that keep popping up.
You're going to need the reminders.
You need those reminders. So maybe we do an episode of like all the ages to pay attention to. Because it's really catchy.
But that's good. That's a key part of having a good advisor too, that helps remind you of these opportunities. So
what do you think? Do you feel informed, Becky, about time travel, superhero condiments, and
yes, more so than ever before. It's like I've been watching the Sci-Fi Channel this whole time. So it's amazing. I love it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Right.
Excellent. So we don't have any homework for anybody. I would assume like if you're listening to this and you are turning 50, hello, you could do a catch-up contribution. If you're turning 60 or you're 60 to 63, this super catch-up just started this year. So this is not for those time traveling last year contributions. That's still on the old rules. Starts this year. It's for this year's contribution.
But that would be homework, is if you didn't fully fund your IRA, you can do the time travel if you need to.
Yeah,
so
call your
see
advisor.
If you have a qualifying account. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Very good. How about contact information, Nick? How can people get in touch with you?
Contact information. Here we go. Website's probably the easiest. sunrisewealthadvisors.com. You can find us on social media, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, Instagram. If you're listening to this, Spotify, Apple Music, you might be watching us on YouTube. You can find us any way you want. If you have questions, anything about this kind of information, we have a little chat box on our website. Type in a question. We'll get you an answer.
Excellent. All right, Becky and Nick, thank you so much. As always, informative and entertaining at the same time.
Thank you, RJ.
Appreciate it. Looking forward to your next podcast. And thank you for listening to today's Can I Retire Now podcast. Until next time, for Nick and Becky, I'm RJ Malik.